Exercise A, Meaning from Context. Pages 32 to 33. Dialogue 1.
Is it true that some people are natural leaders? Even as young children, some are skilled at leading others.
I think that's a myth. I don't think anyone is born with special talents. I believe we develop abilities according to our education and experiences.
Dialogue 2.
I heard some people are born with exceptional skills in math.
Some scientists think so, but others reject the idea that math ability is genetic.
Dialogue 3.
What do you think about the company president's statements this morning? Do you think he's telling the truth?
I think so. He isn't a dishonest person. He would never give us wrong information.
Wow. If it's true, it's a controversial decision. People are going to have a lot to say about this.
Dialogue 4.
Dr. Chong, I'm so tired all the time. I don't know why. I'm sleeping well at night.
It's sometimes difficult to give a precise reason for tiredness, but let's start with some tests. We'll get a sample of your blood and we'll see what the results show.
Dialogue 5.
It's so hot. I've heard that heat can cause terrible storms. I'm worried because I'm going camping tomorrow.
I think that happens, but only in extreme cases. Really big storms only happen in specific weather conditions. I'm sure you'll be safe, but watch the weather reports.
Listening. DNA and career choice. Exercise B, Main ideas. And Exercise C, Details. Pages 34 to 35.
Hi, Mr. Lee. I'm Aisha. I have an appointment to talk about my college plans.
Yes, come in, Aisha. You'll be going to college in 2 years, so it's time to start thinking about what you'd like to study. Do you have any ideas about your future plans?
Well, I think I should study art at college.
That's quite a surprise. I'm looking at your academic record here, and art doesn't seem to be an area that you do that well in. Actually, art is one of your weakest subjects.
I know, but you see, it's in my genes. I need to study and work in the art field. It's in my DNA.
In your DNA?
Yes. My mom is a fashion designer, and my dad is the manager of an art museum. My grandfather paints, and my grandmother designs amazing flower gardens and...
Well, it does sound as if you come from a creative family. But what makes you think it's connected to your DNA?
I found this article online. It said your DNA can show whether you should work in business or in healthcare or in a creative field. It's really interesting. And I think I have a creative gene. The article was fascinating. Let me see if I can find it on my phone. Here it is. This research goes back decades to the 1930s when a scientist named Harold Carter found that twins often chose the same jobs. Identical twins ended up doing the same kind of thing like these identical twin brothers who both became firefighters. Of course, twins have the same genes.
Yes, I've heard about those kinds of studies. I read something the other day about 2 elderly women, twin sisters in Australia. They had worked together at the same company for 50 years. But keep in mind that there may be other reasons why twins do the same kind of work. One may show an interest in firefighting, and the other thinks, yeah, I could do that too. Or maybe the job opportunities where they live are limited. And don't forget, 50 or 100 years ago, there were fewer careers available to people than there are today. The trouble is, that kind of research doesn't predict whether you will be happy in a specific job because of your genes.
So, you think the career you choose has nothing to do with your DNA?
Not quite. I don't think it's that clear. I don't think we can reject the importance of genetics in choosing a career, but it isn't a precise science. I agree that some people's genes make them more suitable for some careers than for others. There's a professor in California, Robin Hayes, whose research suggests that some people have a genetic advantage in certain fields. People who are exceptional at math, for example, probably have brains that work in different ways from the rest of us. Other people can certainly become good at math, but they won't be the next Einstein. But I believe we're looking at extreme cases here, people with exceptional talents.
But do you think the idea of someone being a born leader or a natural business person is a myth?
That's a controversial topic. I think there's some truth in it, but I don't believe genetics are the only thing that influences people's career choices or their success in the career they choose. A professor, Scott Shane, argues that you may have genetic traits in your personality that make you more likely to become a business person, but if you weren't born with that DNA, it doesn't mean you can't be successful in business. When you talk about born leaders or natural business people, you need to ask yourself where those skills come from. Are you really born with business skills? Maybe those people grew up with parents who ran small businesses, and they learned as children to be skilled business people. Or maybe they learned business skills in college.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, I found a company online that can test your DNA and tell you which careers are best for you. You just need to provide a DNA sample, like blood or hair, and they send you a list of careers.
That sounds very unscientific to me. It also sounds dishonest, like a scam.
Really? What do you mean?
Aisha, when you make important decisions, like what you're going to do with the rest of your life, you need to look at more than DNA tests. These tests can only give you basic information. They know nothing about your interests, what motivates you, what you dream of doing in the future, whether you'd like to work in an office or outside or in a hospital or a school. It's dishonest for them to ask for money when all they do is send you a list of jobs. Remember, you are in control. Don't decide based on the results of some test you found on the internet.
I guess I see what you mean. But if I don't consider my DNA, how do I decide what area of study to choose?
Let's start with your academic record.
Exercise D. Focused listening. Page 35.
I read something the other day about two elderly women, twin sisters in Australia. They had worked together at the same company for 50 years. But keep in mind that there may be other reasons why twins do the same kind of work. One may show an interest in firefighting, and the other thinks, yeah, I could do that too. Or maybe the job opportunities where they live are limited. And don't forget, 50 or 100 years ago, there were fewer careers available to people than there are today. The trouble is, that kind of research doesn't predict whether you will be happy in a specific job because of your genes.
Pronunciation. Final consonants T and D. Page 36.
When a word ends in T or D and is followed by another consonant, the final T or D is often not pronounced. This is called elision of final T and D. Listen to these examples. I didn't know about that kind of testing. I wanted to wait for you, but I had to leave. We thought the question was too hard to answer.
Exercise A. Page 36. 1.
It's time to start thinking about what you'd like to study.
2.
Art is one of your weakest subjects.
3.
I need to study and work in the art field.
4.
What makes you think it's connected to your DNA?
5.
A scientist named Harold Carter found that twins often chose the same jobs.
6.
They had worked together at the same company for 50 years.
Exercise A. Model. Page 40.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to talk about 2 things today. First, I'm going to tell you what career I'm interested in, and then I'm going to talk about the skills and personality traits that I think are best suited to that career. Now, if you look at my first slide, you can probably guess from this photo that I would like to be a librarian. I've always loved books and reading, so I'm sure this is a good career for me. The photo you can see is a city library, open to everyone. I'd really love to work in the children's section of a city library, and I'd love to be involved in programs for children to encourage them to read and to love books. Now, when you think of librarians, what do you think of? Strict people who never smile or laugh, and who always tell you to be quiet? Or who shout at you if you take coffee into the library? People you might be scared of, like the woman on this slide? Some of you are nodding. I think that's really sad, and it just isn't true. A successful librarian today needs a different set of personality traits and interests. As you can see here, librarians need to enjoy books. They need to love learning. But what about people skills? If you look at this next slide, you can see a friendly librarian working with a group of children telling a story. Librarians like to help people, answer questions, and recommend books their visitors might enjoy. They might lead book clubs and discussion groups. They need to be enthusiastic, patient, and kind. They need to enjoy helping people find the book or the information they need. The old idea of a librarian as someone who just puts books on shelves isn't true today. The next thing I want to talk about are technical skills. As you can see on this slide, librarians spend a lot of time on computers. They need to be comfortable with technology as it changes all the time. They need good research skills, and they have to be able to focus for long periods of time. Good librarians need to be able to work well both alone and with the public. So to sum up, you can see that being a librarian involves a lot more than people might think. Thanks for listening.